Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue to plug away at the build the DeLorean time machine. I definitely had some setbacks for those of you that saw the last episode, so trying to get back on track with this build. We're going to continue our building on the engine, so we'll see how that goes now that we've got the new transmission put in there. Instructions are going to be following this episode. One thing I'm already concerned about is it still is showing the automatic transmission there. Don't know if that's going to come back and bite us later. There is no way to know. More production diary notes. This is talking about the school scene where he played in front of Huey Lewis, who had the cameo. Great cameo by Huey Lewis, by the way. I love that scene. The fact that he's like playing his own song and tells him that he's too darn loud. And then this is the fella, Harry Waters, that was the leader of the band at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. This is him in 2015, and he actually still looks really good. And then the famous Peabody's barn scene, which is the entire reason that the DeLorean was picked for these films, simply because of the gull-wing doors. Boy, did that work out nicely for everybody. And then what we're going to be doing in the following issue, which is more stuff on the engine. So, let's get started. Here's the kit for this episode that we're going to be working on. And as usual, I've got my screwdriver from issue number 10 and my screwdriver from issue number 1 and a pair of tweezers for the tiny little screws that come in this thing. And standing by, I have my completed engine so far up through episode 17. So, without further ado, let's get started here. Looks like the first thing we need to do is grab one of these. Based on the little flap there, that's going to be this piece. And we're going to be taking an AP screw right off the bat and putting in, looks like this black piece here. Yep. So it looks like that is going to go into this hole here. Just like that, and then screwed into place. So that's what we're going to do. I believe in the last episode I was using the screwdriver from issue number 10 on these AP screws. So that's what I'm going to try here. Hate how itty bitty these screws are. I'm just going to shove that in the hole, giggity. And get that on top there. And start screwing, giggity. Hopefully I got that in there relatively straight. Alright, got it. And there's our finished piece. And then naturally we're going to do, looks like the same thing to the, oh no, that's still this piece. So what's this one? This one's got to be this little brass sucker right here. And looks like that one is going to go into the smaller hole right next to it, also with an AP screw. Now I don't know if this shows up on camera or not, but it has a little notch right here on the side This thing also has a little notch right there, so it can only go in one way, which should actually help me screw it in a little bit better than the piece I just screwed in, because it'll hold it in place. So we got that. We'll grab another AP screw. Nuts. This happens to me all the time with this thing. It's like the pieces are just so small and they keep falling out. Sometimes I'm not sure how I stay motivated to keep building this thing. This build is not for everybody. I've never been very good at building stuff, especially models. I built a handful of them when I was a kid. That's about it. But this thing is by far and away the coolest model I've ever seen. And I can't even imagine how awesome this car is going to be when it's done. That keeps me coming back for more. Okay, that section is done. Let's move on over here. Looks like that piece, based on this and this, is still going to be the same piece that we're dealing with. So, we need one of these. I'm not sure which one, or if it even matters. This one has the holes, just like this one does here, and the slope on this side. So this should be the piece that we want. So I'm guessing that goes right there, like that. And we've got 2 more AP screws right here. Kind of wondering at this point if it gave us enough AP screws to finish this build. We've only got 1 more AP screw, and we haven't even put the other one in yet. That is cause for concern. Fortunately, I've been saving all of my screws throughout this build, so if I get stiffed a couple of screws here and there, I've got some backups. So far, so good. The other screw here. Alrighty. So, there's that piece. And then it looks like we're going to be taking the other one out. And putting the other pipe on it. And wouldn't you know it, we need 2 AP screws, and we've only got 1 left. So, let me dig through my pile of unused items here from previous episodes and see what I can come up with. Thank God I kept all this stuff. So, thanks to my planning ahead here, I've got this entire bag full of screws that I've not used. So, you can see we've got a nice stash of AP screws here. So assuming none of them have been mislabeled, these will work. This AP screw. Okay, yep, they look the same. I guess we'll find out here. There's one AP screw. Set that over there. I want to make sure that I'm putting this in the right direction. So it looks like that's what we're looking at in the picture. So the slope for this thing should go like that. Let's see if we can get that sucker in there. Looks like it's not quite lining up the way that I'd like it. Might be off by a hair here. Let's see if I can get that screw in there. And again, I'm having problems. Okay, because these aren't lining up quite the way I'd like them to, I'm going to leave this one a little bit loose until I can get the other one put in. Go through my backup bag of AP screws here. Gotta say, after getting stiffed an AP screw in this issue, and having to replace the entire transmission in issue number 16, which meant taking that transmission apart from issue number 17 and putting that back together, my faith in Eagle Moss is a little shaken here. That being said, there are folks over in the UK that are way further along in this build than me, which means that it can be done. I haven't seen anybody that's finished the build yet. And I know a lot of people aren't documenting this. So, who knows, maybe by issue 50, I'm going to be the only one that's recording these things anymore. Who knows? These videos are not very popular on my channel, not compared to, you know, my Indiana Jones videos or my firearm videos or any of that stuff, but this is just something that I want to document, just to be able to look back on this thing and say, yeah, I did that. Okay, so we got these two put together. Let's see what we got next. Okay, we're going to be bringing out our existing transmission here. And how exactly is that going to go in? Looks like the one with 3 screws, which would be, I guess, this one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I mean, obviously it's got a 4th one, but you're not going to be able to see it in that diagram. So I would assume that we have this one that goes on this side. We got this little tab right here. It's going to go into this hole right here. So it's going to slide in like that. And then we're going to put the 2 screws right there. And those are going to be DM screws, which we actually do have in this build. So pull out 2 of those. And I believe the DM screws were also with this number 10 here. So I'm going to continue to use the screwdriver from issue 10 to get these put in. And once once again I dropped it. These things are supposed to be magnetic, but they never quite hold the screws like I want them to. If these screws get any smaller in future episodes, I think I'm going to go nuts. I forget to tighten these. Or was it this one that I forgot to tighten them on? Nope, they're all tight, so I must not have forgotten. Okay, so get that sucker in there. Feels like it doesn't want to go in all the way. It feels like I'm stripping it out. Let's try the other screwdriver, although I think this one's smaller. Jeez Louise. It is going in, but I'm applying a ridiculous amount of pressure here. Yeah, jeez Louise. Okay, so we got one in, and we switched to the number 1 screwdriver to get a little bit more oomph out of it. So we still got one more screw to put in right there. So I'm going to stick with the number 1 screwdriver in case it gives me grief again. This one's going in a little easier than the other one, but not much. There we go. Holy cow. Alright, so we got the screws in here and here. And that step is done. Now I'm guessing we need to do the same thing to the other side here. So again, we've got the little tab and the hole right there that lines up with. So that's just going to slide in right there. And then same deal. We put 2 more screws in there. And again, I believe they are both DMs. Yes, they are. We get out 2 more. If I can actually get them out of the bag. There's 1. And there's 2. Alright, and we're going to stick with the number 1 again, since that was able to get in the other 2 without, well, I shouldn't say without problems, but fewer problems than the number 10. Okay, it just keeps on wanting to fall out of that little notch that it's in, so I'm going to apply pressure with my thumb, get the bottom one done first. Okay, that's in there nice and snug. Oh, well, maybe not. Alright, and one more right there. Wonder how many issues the engine build is. I mean, geez, the very first episode, we get the front fender, and I get all excited because I think we're going to be building the car body. And that front fender has been sitting in a box, doing nothing, ever since I started this build. At least we got the frame done, I think. We did the frame, and then we never came back to that either. That's when we started the engine. We've been doing the engine ever since. But we already know that we've got more engine work on the episode after this one. So who knows when we're going to get back to the rest of the car. Okay, this is what we got so far. It's looking pretty good. Now we need to put on this back piece, which is the last piece in the kit for this week. And it looks like it's going to be attached with 2 screws. I'm not exactly sure where they go. Because there are no screw holes in this thing, as you can see from the other side. No screw holes. Got a spot right here for something. Oh, okay, I see what we're doing here. Okay, we've got 2 spots here that you can't see on the diagram. This is a terrible diagram. You got the two holes right here. Hopefully you can see it on camera. And then we've got these 2 holes right here, just below the 2 screws that I just put in. So this piece is going to sit right there, like that. So that's what we're doing. And we've got 2 more DM screws. So we're going to stick with the number 1 screwdriver. Go ahead and get those screws out. And we got 1 left over. So that'll go in my back into my screw collection in case I get shorted again on a future episode on something. Let that be a lesson to you folks. Save your screws. Do not throw anything away. I've got a nice big box that the frame of the car came in. I have kept that box ever since I got it. And all the pieces of the car that I've built so far, all my screws, the screwdrivers, the issues, everything goes into that box in case I need to come back to it for something, which has happened more than once. For those of you that just saw the last episode of this that I posted, when I had to rebuild the transmission, the new transmission that it came with didn't even come with instructions. So I had to dig up the old instructions that my original transmission came with and use those to try and rebuild the new transmission. It was a huge pain, but thanks to me keeping the instructions and figuring out which kind of screws needed to go where, we were able to get through it. So, save all of your stuff. I ain't throwing nothing out until I make it through the very last episode, whenever that is. This is what, issue 18? I think there's like 130 episodes. So, we are nowhere near being done with this thing. Hopefully at some point it actually starts looking like the Back to the Future car instead of a whole bunch of pieces sitting in a box, because it's hard to stay motivated when you don't have anything pretty to look at. Alright. Still seeming a little rickety there. Strip that out. Well, maybe it's just going to continue to be rickety until another piece gets built onto it. don't think I can get these screws down any tighter. So maybe that is not what's causing the ricketiness here. Boy, these screws are such a pain. Still seems a little rickety. Jeez Louise. Alright, well that's just going to have to do, because I don't think I can get the screws down any tighter than that. So, here's our finished piece. It's kind of looking like a little spaceship or something at this point. Anyway, that's what we got so far, and we did make it through the build. So, thanks for watching, folks, and stay tuned for the next episode. Have a great day.